He didn't need to work. He wanted to work. And what I always tell people is the best advice you can get is from someone that doesn't need to work but wants to work.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's no value in me for him, right? Like, what am I going to do for him? Nothing. He's got literally he had everything he had. It's the most unbiased advice you can get. Yeah. I have no value to him monetarily. The guy's worth, doesn't matter how much, but he was fine. I'll tell you what, he was fine.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real People in Real Estate podcast, where we talk about the real shit and not about real estate. I'm one of your hosts, Brooke Jones, aka the Millennial Agent.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Tyra Nicole.
And I am Nicole Pay. And before I introduce our guests, you guys, I had to represent. My Michigan Wolverines came out. They pulled it through.
Go Blue.
2024 NCAA National Champions. We are here. We have waited almost 30 years for this. And as a fan, it feels so good.
Michigan is representing the football.
And I can't wait. And you guys already know we're big Lions fans. But one of the reasons I wanted to represent and wear is the last year U of M has hit adversity. The last, actually 2 years, have hit adversity. And one thing in all the interviews they said was, it's a brotherhood. We're a team. We're a family. We're a unit. And we got the job done. And I love that. And it's full circle because the guest we have tonight, you have hit adversity, family, personal, and I think you can proudly say that you got the job done. So, owner and president of Next Door Lending, mentor, father, influencer, inspirer, as your Instagram says.
Thank you.
Mr. Jonathan Haddad, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I can't thank you guys enough. And the job's never done, right? That's kind of my philosophy.
True.
Had a really good therapy session today. I meet with my therapist every Wednesday at 9, coach, therapist, and we talked a lot about the job being done. And one of the biggest things we talked about is, like, you always feel like you need to do more. And he said something to me that I absolutely love. I just want to share it with you guys. He said, listen, whenever you feel like depressed or you feel like you got to do more, you got to get more done, he goes, just remember that's the devil, because God already knows the plan for you. You just have to execute on the plan he has and just be patient with the plan. Me too. I got so emotional when he said it. I won't even lie to you.
I got
so emotional, and I was like, man, that's I needed to hear it so bad. So thank you all so much for having me on here.
So
thank you for joining.
I didn't hear that yesterday, because yesterday, honestly, I was going through it.
I think that it's kind of been like even for us, I said to William, like, coming back from vacation, I don't know what has happened in my household. I don't know what has taken over my children, my family, me, but I just feel like getting back into the swing of things has been so difficult.
Well, we put high expectations on ourselves with the new year.
We did.
Well, just in general, people put high
you say in general, yeah.
You know, their New Year's resolutions or whatever. And when, you know, you're sick,
which seems like everybody is right now,
it's really hard to execute those goals, and then you feel bad about yourself, and you know, it can be easy to get into like a little funk.
Are you feeling better now?
Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling better now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt bad in Florida.
Thank you.
I could tell you were definitely not feeling good, and I felt bad. And so we always start this with trending topics. You guys, we talk about the shit going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like 2024, like, man of the year is Cat Williams. I'm not gonna lie.
Crushing it.
Yeah.
So we, in previous podcasts, we have like dove down the Diddy hole. We have dove down
the Diddy hole.
We did. We went down that hole. Was that bad? That was bad.
That was bad.
I didn't say nothing.
That was really bad.
Okay, well, you guys know what I mean. The rabbit Diddy hole. No, that's still not going to work. Anyways, we have talked about some crazy stuff in all of that. And then all of a sudden we're on vacation, and Rob came and was like, Cat Williams interview, check it out. And we were like, what? Okay, we drove home from Florida. You guys, I had it sitting on the dashboard while I'm driving, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
did you watch the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing, because I drove for like a couple hours, so I watched the whole thing while I was driving, and I was like, checkmate.
Do you guys know it's like last time I checked, it was like at 36 million.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Like that was like yesterday. So
he did an interview with Chad Ochocinco after, and he was talking about that interview. He said that Kat actually had been wanting to be on the podcast for like 2 years. Like, this has been something they've been trying to plan for 2 years.
Wow.
He came on and he went hard, like literally right out of the gates.
Yeah.
He went hard, and he didn't, you know.
He didn't
disappoint.
Well, somebody was saying it was like incredibly calculated, right, with the specific people that he talked about, just to help him garnish like more attention and following. And like, you know, what I'm always curious about is like people's mindsets and the psychology piece. It's like, why do you think it has 36 million views, right? Like, why are people so enamored by that portion of of people and the way they speak, right? Like they're so dialed into like I don't want to say the evilness, but the pettiness, right?
Yeah.
I'm just being real.
Yeah.
You know, so like why do you think that happens to our minds?
I don't. For me personally,
You said go deep, so
No, we do.
good
We
luck.
do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for me personally, I think it's for me is it's not even the pettiness. It's about that the truth of stuff and what's happening. People are so blind to, or do they even turn a blind eye to, that they don't want to actually realize like this is real life.
Yeah.
And I think that's where so many people are watching it, because there are people that sit on the fence like, is this for real? Is this not for real? Or, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And then to have somebody come out and call out that many people and say like, I have receipts, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he does. I don't think he would go that hard in the
Yeah,
paint
it's
if he
been
didn't.
provided. The receipts have been provided.
I think for me, it's just confirmation to all those people that looked at us like we were freaking crazy for all the stuff that we've said. But it's true, and it's sick what's happening that people are so not aware of.
Yeah.
Can I keep going?
You sure can.
Keep
That's what
going,
we're here
please.
for.
So like again, right? I think about people's psyche all the time because
Mm-hmm.
that allows you to understand individuals. When you understand people, you can lead them the right way. Like
Right.
leadership to me is the most important thing. But even from that perspective, you know, why is that so important versus the things that are, in my opinion, way bigger than that, right? Like you talk
Yeah,
about
that's
other
true,
things
too.
in this world, in third world countries.
Absolutely.
You talk about people. There's countries that don't have good water, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like that to me
I
is a
see your
bigger.
point.
You see what I'm saying?
I see
So
your
to me,
point.
it's like why does that happen in our
Yeah.
minds?
Oh, here he goes.
Let's
Here he
go, Will.
goes.
No, I was gonna say
I was like,
our minds is easily distracted
Bingo.
based off of negativity.
Bingo.
Yeah.
The
That's how
wrong-
we've been
the wrong
programmed.
that's how we. Yeah, that's how
Well,
we've been
you're so
programmed.
attached to it, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. And I try to explain that to people. It's like what I always do is like whenever I get emotional about something, I don't want to ever comment right away because I'm like, all right, I'm emotional because it's affecting me right now, and I can't. I love the tea, right? Who doesn't love the tea? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like everybody loves that gossip,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
it's like, all right, tell me more. You know?
Sometimes.
So
I love
like,
the tea sometimes.
Exactly, but you can't
Yeah.
pick and choose. So it's like, why is that as a society, like our focus is so enamored by like what only affects the United States when the reality is third world countries that don't have tap water. Like
Yeah.
that's not a big deal. Why? So
Yeah.
like that's just the big thing for me. It's like, you know, you think about the United States and people are so enamored by like, oh, we knew like even the Epstein stuff, right? That's
Yeah.
been coming out. And don't get
We
me wrong.
talked about that
By the
too.
way, I'm interested too. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not saying I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
no. I mean, I'm like. Who's on the blacklist? You know, I'm looking
Who
for the
paid to
same
get
stuff.
off
Yeah.
the blacklist?
But it's like, why do we like? That's our focus.
Yeah,
So
that's
why
true.
is that the focus?
So you think it's just a
Right.
distraction? I mean,
I don't know.
It's
I don't wanna
definitely
say
a
that. I
distraction.
don't
I know we know it's a distraction.
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
definitely a
no
distraction.
two ways about it. Like we know it's definitely a distraction. But
But why? I always think why. You know,
Why?
like people are so. You have to understand, like. And everybody in this room, God willing, you know, we've had the opportunity to talk to successful people. We talk to people with wealth. We talk to people that have a lot of money. When I've met these people, and I've met billionaires and millionaires, you know how calculated these people are. And there's people that have 10x money than these people.
Right.
10x. And let me I try to be as calculated as possible, and it's very difficult. But at another level, you're even more calculated, and especially when you have data and information to make those decisions. So I think about like who's behind that scene making those calculated decisions
True.
all the time.
That's true.
And I try not to maneuver accordingly. But to your point, though, like why wouldn't you buy into it and continue to build like off of what's working? Because if it has 36 million,
it's a lot of people.
America
It's
has
more.
350
I mean,
million
how many
people.
people
was
watch it
yesterday.
twice? But it's something that I've even said to Tyra in previous. Like all this information is coming out in Epstein Island and all this. It's not gonna. You seem to think that it's going somewhere.
Well, with the Diddy stuff, like I
you did
feel
say
that
that.
The Diddy
eventually he'll be locked up. That's the way I feel as far as that goes. But
I just like
as far as
they're
it,
never
like,
gonna come out
changing
and
the world,
Kevin Hart's
like-
never gonna say like, yes,
He's
I
a
was
plant,
offered
yeah.
millions of dollars to wear a dress. Like it's never gonna
Yeah.
come. They're never gonna say this. So I get everything
Well,
coming
this
out.
is the year of exposure. Do you guys know?
I didn't know that.
2024.
Sounds like it.
Where's
Yeah,
that?
2020
okay, where did that come
2024
So we're
people will
big on
be
like numbers. Like we
exposed.
talk like
And not only
2024.
celebrities.
Don't get me started on numbers.
Oh.
I went to India 2 years ago, and I went to a PhD 30 years
this.
about about astrology.
Okay.
Don't my birth year, my birth sign, my birth number. Come on. All right.
What's your life path?
The 8.
You're an 8.
I'm an 8 for my
And
life
this
path.
is the year of the 8.
This is the year of 8.
I'm the hero. I'm the
This is the year of
manifester.
the 8.
baby.
Rob's
I'm
an
ready.
8.
Yes.
No, you're an 8. Rob is a 4.
Yeah.
You're an 8. Rob's
He's
a
an
4.
8.
They're 5s, and I'm a 1. So
You've done very well.
God has been very good to me, but I've executed. God
And this-
God showed me the path, and I keep going.
Yeah.
This is
Meet
the
God
year of the 8.
halfway.
Huh?
God can't meet. You have to meet God halfway.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Faith
He
without works
can
is
give you
dead.
signs. God gives you signs.
He gives you
right?
signs every day.
Every single
Every
day, no
day.
matter what it is. And he's
Yeah.
like, and I always feel like it's like, do you think you want more? And I wake up and I say, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Keep going, because like with
Yeah.
whatever it is that is coming your way, whether it's grateful, just know there's evil coming, right? Because there's
Yeah.
people that just don't want to see. Like you said, people are looking for that tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're looking for that 36 million views.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, okay, what do you do? How do you navigate through that? And I keep telling God, I go, keep going. Keep going.
So what do you
I'm
think
ready.
like Cat
I like
Williams is
that.
actually
I
looking
like
to get
that.
out of this though? Like
Well,
He got
Aside-
36 million views.
think about it. Okay, so even the interview with Chad Ochocinco, he's saying like this is not the every other comedian is gonna want to come on here and say their piece, right? Like
Yeah.
they're upset about what Kat said, and now
Yeah.
they want to come on, and it's just a domino effect. This one has 36 million videos. We're waiting for that reaction video from the other comedian.
But listen, so I don't know if you guys saw, but he did another interview
did?
yesterday with
I didn't know that.
I
Willie
did not.
D. Yeah, he did another interview, and it wasn't as interesting. What do you
wasn't?
guys think? Did you guys?
Did
see
you
it?
see it?
I seen it popped up on my.
It was not as interesting.
Because
I don't
he
think it's
spilled all
gonna
the
get.
tea in the
Yeah,
first one.
and he
It's
was
funny.
like so like low key, and
Anymore?
it just wasn't the
Yeah.
same.
what do you mean are you allowed to?
I like we're on screen. I didn't
You
know
are
if, like,
listen, Will gets in and pours for everybody. You are allowed to do whatever. This is
But
an open conversation.
He's looking. He's like,
But no, it was
You
funny.
knew right away too. That's
Yeah, it was funny because even Gary Owen got on and he was like,
Yeah, he said
I don't
something about
know if he was taking a dig at me or like, and if, like people in the comments were like, just sit this one out, Gary. Just
Well,
sit this
see,
one out. Like don't do it, Gary.
I look at it. I look at it a little different.
Mixing the important now.
I look at it a little different. I mean, I don't feel like it was like some type of marketing strategy or something. This is just me. I feel like he really was just exposing people.
Well, he said
and
if you would have
exposing
treated me
truth.
better, like if you knew I had these receipts, you probably should have treated me better.
I feel like he was exposing truths, and like I said, this is the year of the truths. I feel like
But you want to talk
a lot
about
of
petty?
people
I
will
just
be
need to go to
exposed.
petty for 1 second, and this is the tea. This is so petty, and I am so excited that she did this. Kevin Hart's ex-wife
I didn't
is
see it.
touring with Cat Williams.
oh yeah.
Kevin
Oh
Hart's
my God.
ex-wife
I
didn't know that.
That's
signed on his
The
comedy
petty is
show.
so petty.
That do you want like level of petty? She signed to be on Cat Williams' comedy show.
Kevin Hart has a lot of skeletons in his
Oh,
closet.
I'm sure he
I'll
does.
just say that.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
Okay, but like I could literally talk about this
Yeah.
all day. You just said you went to India, and like I really just want to dive. I have to
Yeah.
ask about this. Can we please talk about
Sure.
numbers? Like, where did this come from? Because we dove into numbers hardcore, and every
Yeah.
time a number person comes up, Tyra's like got her calculator out and like, what's your sign, your
Yeah.
number, your what is it? The what's the other number? What's the one that Kelly talks about?
Oh, the
your
North
North
Node.
Node.
Yeah.
Like
Do you
your
know
North
anything
Node,
about
do you
that?
know?
Or-
That's that
I don't.
number.
I'm more
That's
into
numerology.
That's numerology.
Yeah.
Like North Node is astrology.
It's astrology.
Yeah.
North Node is
Yeah.
astrology,
Yeah.
and it's like where the sun or where the stars and everything were aligned when you were born.
So he did go through that with me because I had to give him those times. So in India, we went. It was amazing. We went for a wedding. Great friend of mine,
I'm
Kurt
so
Brandley.
interested to hear
I
about
know, I
this.
can't wait.
He's
Go
such
ahead.
he's such a good human being. Kurt Brandley. Kurt, I love you, buddy. If you watch this, his wife is Indian, and they got married back over where her family's.
Okay.
Actually, her family's from the north, south. They're from. It's good though, right? They're from.
Sorry,
She was
I'm
like,
sorry.
"That's strong."
No, you're fine. You're fine. But they ended up getting married in a place called Jaipur.
Okay.
Jaipur is called the Pink City, and it's beautiful. A lot of the buildings are pink.
wow.
It's royalty. So for story number one, I was like, I told my girl Lauren, I said, babe, we gotta like dress the part. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to India, not dressed the
100%.
like
I love that.
I'm Middle Eastern. I'm first generation.
Mm-hmm.
You go to these weddings, like it's all about that culture. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the guy that shows up not culture appropriated.
Yeah.
So we went to this Indian store in I believe it's Troy. We go there, we tell this lady, we're like, here's what we're doing. We're in Jaipur. She knew she was from the city. She's like, oh my God, here's all the stuff you're gonna go about. And she was right, she nailed it all. So we buy all these like extravagant, I got like, it's beautiful, beautiful things that I'm wearing and she's wearing. Well, we get there and we're wearing all these clothes. Well, her family is from the south of India, and in the south of India, they don't wear anything fancy. So me and my girl are dressed up to the nines per Indian culture, and everybody else is dressed up how they dress in the South.
Oh my!
I've never been so embarrassed in my life. So anyway, it was amazing. We actually brought Rami with us over here to just film and just talk, and he did it over there exactly. Yeah. And we had a good time. Rami fell, ripped his jeans. It was hilarious.
Oh man!
Shit, I forgot.
Of course, you got to bring up that one embarrassing part.
Well, because of course he forgets. You want to put them in the back of your head. But anyway,
you want to remind him.
Of course, you got to humble people, right? So we end up we're doing a thing. Anyway, we end up at this hotel right before we come back in New Delhi, and there was a guy there, 30 years. So in India, they have specifics that specialize in things such as numerology, astrology.
Okay.
30 years in the game. PhD in numerology. Okay, so I was like, and not that I'm not a skeptic at all, because I do believe in it. I do believe in like a higher power. That's just something I'm passionate about. So but it was more so for my girl. She's like, Lauren loves numerology piece. So I said, all right, babe, let's just do it. I'll pay for both of us. You do it separately. So I went in. I told him everything. Now, one of the things that I did intentionally, because I didn't want him to look me up, I deactivated all my social media accounts.
Okay.
Right
to make sure that
make sure he's not looking me up. I deactivated everything.
Okay.
See, that's calculated. I would have never. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah. So for those that are watching, I'm a psychopath. Okay. So
I would have never thought about that.
So I deactivated everything. Okay. I deactivate. I go. I. This is before I go see him. I sit down. Whatever. He's like, come back in 2 hours. I'm like, no problem. I come back in 2 hours. We sit down. He's going through.
What did he ask you for? Like.
So he had the time I was born, which I already knew. He asked me for the year, obviously my date of birth.
Okay.
Excuse me, was he just like a master, like numerologist or something?
Yeah, so he has a PhD in numerology in India, 30 plus years. His book, the book he had was like 400 pages. It was unbelievable.
This is like Tyra's like in heaven right now.
Yeah,
she's like loving every ounce of this. So, she's going to ask so many.
You're spot on. So initially I was like, all right, whatever. So anyway, I go 2 hours, I come back, and he's just like, okay, sit down. I go, okay, great. So I'm sitting down, and the guy just starts talking about stuff that it's not even on my social media. So Rami and myself, we own a social media company together, okay? Rome Studios. This guy's an absolute machine when it comes to social media. And we went all in together, I'm like, all right, let's do this. Like, let's figure this out. Yeah. So first thing that he says is he goes, I can speak freely, I assume, the best I can.
Absolutely.
But he's like, you make money. I'm like, God's been good. He goes, well,
you're an 8.
You're an 8, right?
He says that, what he said?
Right? He says you're an 8, right? So he talks about my sign and he says, I see pictures in your future. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, I think you own something to do with pictures or videos. I feel like that's the next step for you to make it to the next level. He said, whatever that is, go all in. Okay? Wow. I didn't say nothing. I was like, no shot. Like, there's no shot. There's nothing on social media that says I even own that marketing company.
Listen, I stalked
find it.
I didn't. Yeah, I stalked your social media because that's what I do.
So right away, and like just being like the person I am and interviewing people, I don't let someone think I'm thrown off guard. But like I had goosebumps. And I'm like, all right, keep going. Keep going. So he starts going. He said, okay, like here's where when you were born. He said you're on your final life. Okay. He says my bet is that you are so connected to the universe. And he says, my bet is that God talks to you. And I looked at him and I said, God does talk to me. Like, I know he does. And as crazy as that sounds, like, I know he does. When I wake up, I already know what to do. Like, someone's told me. The devil's trying to tell me not to do it, but God does tell me. And it sounds crazy, but I'm so much more comfortable talking about it because this is my life, not yours. Right. It is my life. And I used to be so weirded about talking about it. So he starts going through everything in my life. When I tell you this guy was 99% accurate about everything, the companies that I own, the marketing companies that I have, my siblings, he goes to me, and I love my brother. Like, I can't even talk about my brother because I get so emotional because of how amazing this man is. Younger than me, the most beautiful human being you ever met. My ride or die. He has gotten me through so much thick and thin that no one knows about. I love this guy. He looks at me right away. He says, your brother. He says, your brother. He goes, make sure he's always by your side, and I can see that he is. Don't ever lose that. And I started crying in the room. I started crying. And so the whole thing happens, everything finishes. I actually took everything. I have it saved at my office, all the signs, all the numbers, everything that I have where I was born. And my girl went in next. I literally walk out. I'm crying, by the way, okay?
She's probably
you have to go separate.
what?
He wouldn't let you do it together, okay?
Okay.
But he talks about, like, the people in your life. Even the people in my life that he said to listen to are people that I listen to. And he didn't even know who they were.
Yeah.
It was the most mind-blowing, unbelievable. And I said, how did you know this? He goes, honest to God, John? He says, I have this book of 400 pages. You show me the book. He goes, all I'm doing is based off what you told me. I'm just reading.
What exactly did you give him?
I got handed Bible. I gave him my year of birth, my date of birth, my year of birth, my time of birth, and where I was born. Hand to Bible.
That's it. Those 3 elements.
Hand to Bible. I didn't tell him about siblings, and I deactivated I told him about nothing. And I was so just like mind blown by it. And then my girl went next. You know, she's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "I'm not." You know, like,
Don't ask.
I'm not crying.
She was probably like, "What am I walking into?"
Well, she went too, and the same thing happened. Like, I was at the bar drinking a beer, and just reflecting on life. You know, like I'm like, "What just happened?" You know, and then she comes out too, and she's just like, "What just happened?" I said, "I don't know." So
let's go get a drink.
It was just the most beautiful experience I've ever had, and it was. I still have it saved. I have everything saved. I have everything in my office. I looked at it at least once a week just to keep reminding myself that, like, I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful journey and experience.
I mean, everything comes down to numbers.
How did we even
Everything
get on this,
comes
though?
down to the time we were born.
No.
The day we were born, when we were born. Everything is calculated. We talk about calculated. Like,
Can I? And you want to hear something funny?
Go ahead.
So I moved to Los Angeles. Me and Lauren, I knew her through high school initially here in Michigan. And then she's a 4th generation Teamster. So she works in the movie industry. And her great grandfather was a Teamster, her grandfather, her dad, and then now her. So she was in LA, she's doing movies, whatever. I moved to LA. And I just reconnected with her. I slid into her DMs. She already knows this. It is what it is. I hit her up on Instagram. I always thought she was attractive, cute in high school. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to kick it, So now we have 2 twins. Obviously. Yeah, thank God. God's
Beautiful.
Been great. But even with her and I connecting in California, just the amount of synergy, the amount of connections, the amount of things that we've just been able to bring to life together has been the most unbelievable experience. Has a lot to do with just like the time and manifesting the universe. And I used to never believe about manifesting. I said I don't believe in that energy. And one day we ended up moving to Las Vegas. I opened up our company first in Las Vegas and Next Door Lending. So I opened us up there, went nuts there, exploded it. And so one day we're in our backyard, we're chilling, and I'm like, I don't believe in like the stars and the ecos. And she goes, well, how do you explain the waves? They're controlled by the moon. And the second she said it, I said, I'm a dumbass. Because she's right. That's science. Science says. So how can I say that the cosmos, by the way, doesn't control our energy? We are a rock sitting in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere. Okay, we don't even know if we fall where we go. Right? Yeah. You don't know where we go.
We don't know.
The Hubble telescope can see 46 billion light years in every direction: north, east, southwest, northwest, in every single direction. How am I so ignorant to think that energy is not controlled by the cosmos? And that changed my entire life and perspective, and because of her. That's why I love that woman with such a core. You have no idea.
That's amazing.
And a lot has to do with just, she changed my perspective. I'm like, she's right.
I don't even, and I said, like, how do we get started on this? And you had said India, but we dove deep into this in last year. Like, we really, really dove deep into this and got into it. And like, even the revelation, how much it challenged all of us, like when we found out our numbers. And like, I think it actually brought us, I'm a number 1.
Okay.
She's a leader.
I'm number 1.
You're number 1.
Oh, you're
no,
5.
She's a 5.
Oh.
I'm just
No, I'm a number 1. I'm a leader. They're 5.
And we talked about
and I actually think, like, when we started to dive into it, it brought us as a unit, like our core unit of Iconic Circle. I think it actually brought us closer because we started to understand each
how
other
this all
and how
came
this all came
together,
together,
and how all of us are
and
needed.
everything worked. I felt that. Like,
and to your point about your wife that you were talking about, the thing is, you two were needed to come together to produce the twins that you have.
If I
so
tell
that was
you,
necessary.
If I tell you, and this is crazy, it's gonna sound crazy, I put it in my journal 10 years ago that I would have twins, a boy and a girl.
No way.
And when you can ask her. When she called me from the hospital, I saw her face.
You manifested.
I said, it's twins.
It's twins.
And the doctor goes, She wasn't even on the sofa. She goes, what? She goes, how did he know? I said, I already knew this was happening 10 years ago. I said, I wrote it in my journal.
It's because you've lived years before, like you.
He's
right, as you said, and you're an 8. And
I swear to you, the second she called me, that she picked up the phone and she said she's going to see like the sex of the child, all this. And I looked at right away. I said, it's twins. And then the doctor was like, we don't know if it's a boy or girl. I said, it's a boy and a girl. I said, I already know it's a boy and a girl. And she's like, well, we're not sure. I said, no, it's a boy and a girl. I said, I'm so sorry, but it's a boy and a girl.
You're like, I know.
It was a boy and a girl.
And it's funny that you said about being an old soul is because William's an 8. And how many times have I said to you?
Oh, Will's, you're an 8?
Yeah,
Will's an 8.
Bro, we got to talk.
And I've said to him.
Number, we didn't text. What's going on?
I know.
That's my fault. That's on me.
I've literally said to him so many times, like, I feel like you've been here before. Like, your soul is so old. Have I not said that to you so many times?
9 is the last one. So you guys are at 8. So
yeah, and I'm over here like baby number 1.
Okay, so we have for those of you that don't know John, I want you to kind of give like your, who you are, what you do. Give us a little. Like if an Uber driver was
I love it, Uber driver.
Like, who are you? What do you do?
I love that.
What a great question that was. Awesome job. You work hard to try and define yourself and show yourself a certain way to the world. Mm-hmm. If I were to tell people who I am a man that has gone through his demons. I'm a man that has gone through evil. And the one thing I'll tell you about me is that no matter what the demons are, is that every morning I wake up and I look those demons in the fucking face and I always win. I'll never lose to demons. And I have had I don't want to say difficult life, because there's people that have had very difficult lives, but I've had a life that has required me to do things that most human beings have not had to do, like take care of my family at a very young age. I started working when I was 12 years old to help put food on the table, to help pay bills for my parents. And I used to be so resentful towards it until I had the most beautiful, beautiful human being. He passed away, God rest his soul, Stephen Luigi Piazza. He's the one that taught me to let go of resentment, to let go of anger, to let go of frustration. He looked me dead in the eye and he said, can I tell the story? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
go ahead.
Mom, Dad, I love you. You already know this story, okay? So please don't be upset. But I used to have some resentment towards my mom and dad. I started paying their bills at a very, very young age. And as I started to become not very successful, as I started to find success and find opportunity and money, I started to become resentful towards them, paying certain bills, taking care of the house, taking care of all the stuff. And I would be so angry. I was 22, 23 years old. And every day I wear my emotions on my sleeve and I'd be so upset, so irritated, all of this. And what would happen from that perspective is I just started to get mad. And one day this beautiful soul walks in and he sees me frustrated, He sees me frustrated. I'm at my desk. And he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I don't even know who you are, man. I'm like, I'm good. He was about 60 years old, a little less than 60 years old at the time. I'm like, who's this little ass man coming to talk to me, So all of a sudden, he goes, oh, he's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's a little feedback, right? For those watching, don't worry about it. All right, we're
mind your business.
We're drinking tequila. Mind your business.
It's our mixologist in the background.
Our mixologist back there. Mind your business.
Yeah, 100%. So one day he walks up out of nowhere. He goes, what's going on with you? And I'm good. He goes, just walk with me. I said, I'm not walking with you, By the way, he's like 5'8", 100 and...
Like, you've never met him before in your life?
First time.
Like, and he just walked up to your desk?
First time. 160 pounds, soaking wet. I'm a big boy, I'm not a small boy. So all of a sudden he's like, walk with me. I said, no. He goes, walk with me. I said, I'm busy. I got shit to do. He's like, he grabs me by the arm and I was like, yo, that's old man strength. Oh my God, right? Rips me. And then what he does is he goes, okay, let's take a walk up the stairs. So I'm like, where are we going? He goes, we're on the 5th floor. He said, we're going to the 14th floor.
Up the stairs.
Yeah, up the stairs. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, we'll go. So we go all the way to the top. He's like, I'm going to take you to the rooftop of this building. He goes, you're going to love it. I have the keys. I'm like, all right, great. So we go all the way to the rooftop. I'm dying. By the time we get up there, and he's like, I'm like, okay, open outside. I want to see it. He goes, I don't have the key.
Oh, my gosh.
And I look at him. I go, what the fuck? He goes, I just needed you to calm down. That's what he says to me. He goes, I just needed you to calm down. And I was calm because I was so exhausted from walking up fucking 10 flights of stairs, So he takes me back down to our floor, pulls me in the office. He goes, what's going on? I'm like, bro, I'm not telling you, I don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know you.
Like, I don't know you like that, Like, and I have a very, I have a different past. I'll just tell you that much, okay? So he's like telling me. So I tell him everything. I tell him about like my resentment and my irritation and my family. Yeah, all this bullshit, you know.
How old were you at this?
23.
Okay.
So 9 years ago. So no, yeah, 23. So I'm telling him all this, and as I'm telling him my whole life story and how like mad I am, he's smiling the entire time. He's smiling. He's smiling.
It has to irk you.
Irk's an understatement. I'm like, this motherfucker. You know? So we finish, and he's smiling, and I'm like, why are you smiling? You know, why are you? And and later
this
he became my mentor.
Funny.
But I go,
Right.
why are you smiling? He goes, oh my God, your life is so beautiful. And I said, what? I just told you about all this like trauma and all this bullshit. He goes, no. He goes, you know the beautiful thing about you, John? I said, what is it? He goes, no matter what the day is, no matter what hand you're dealt every single morning, he goes, you know what's beautiful about you? You'll never fold. He goes, and how incredible is that you'll never fold? And he goes, let me ask you something. At 23 years old, tell me about your friends. So I tell him. He goes, do they have a 401k? I said, no. Do they make as much money as you? I said, no. He goes, do they have student loan debt? I said, yeah, probably. He goes, awesome. So what are you upset about?
Wow.
And I've never I'm sorry, it's hard to talk about.
Did you
know?
ever ask him what made him come up to you? Like, did you ever?
Because Piazza was the most beautiful soul, and when he passed away, the one thing that was said at his funeral is he said, if you didn't know Piazza, that's a shame because he would have got to know you. This human being used to send to every person on their birthday, okay? He would send them a voicemail. And on the voicemail, you know what it would say? Happy birthday to you, to every single human being
person.
of my previous employer.
Where was he at in?
He owned the company, part ownership of the organization. Part ownership, very small.
That in itself is
and the amount of trust he had in me when he got sick with cancer, he passed away from stomach cancer, God rest his soul. I was out of office for everything. I was out of office at 25 years old. He made me an owner of the organization, his out of office.
Wow.
That's the type of relationship. When I tell you I miss this man with such a passion, that's why, when I was talking about earlier, why does it matter? You know, even with what we're looking at, some of the stuff with society.
Yeah.
Because he was like, what are you doing? He would always say that. He goes, are you impacting people?
Yeah.
And no, okay, then you should do something else to impact people. And he would always say, I'm like, Piazza, I just want people to like me and this and that. He said, John, do me a favor. I said, what's up? He goes, every day, just focus on getting one person to like you. And I was like, why just one person? He goes, because when you're my age, you're going to have thousands of people that love you.
Wow. Was he Italian?
He was Italian. Stephen Luigi Piazza.
Listen, I'm Martinello. I know that Italian name. Yeah, as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's an Italian grandfather right there.
I miss this man.
Yeah.
What a beautiful man.
Do you still have touch with his family, or do you?
No, I don't. I wish I did, and I probably should have done a better job of doing that. I haven't. The one thing I miss the most is just being able to, when you get to a position that I've been fortunate to be in, it's very hard to find people to trust that won't spill your beans, right?
Yeah.
So I do miss being able to call
Or even
him.
guide you the right way.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
He didn't. He didn't need to work. He wanted to work. And what I always tell people is the best advice you can get is from someone that doesn't need to work but wants to work.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no value in me for him, right? What am I going to do for him? Nothing. He's got literally he had everything he had. So now I'm getting advice. It's the most unbiased advice you can get.
Yeah.
I have no value to him monetarily. The guy is worth, doesn't matter how much, but he was
worth it.
I'll tell
He
you
was
what,
fine.
he was fine.
He was fine.
And he actually did so much work in downtown Detroit, the downtown Detroit boxing gym. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the downtown Detroit boxing gym.
Yep.
The amount of work he did with Jessica and that team over there, and Cal over there. Oh my God, this guy. Can I tell one more story?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Downtown Youth Detroit Boxing Gym here in Detroit, okay? Amazing human beings. It's called Books Before Boxing. Books Before Boxing.
Okay.
So it's all about the school district and making sure that you're if you're not good in school, you don't get to be part of this class, And one time he's like, you got to come to this event. It's amazing. It's incredible. I'm like, okay, great, I'll go. So we're going to this event. I'm like, oh my God, what a blast. These kids are inner city from a place to where a lot of people haven't found success, and they're giving them a platform and an opportunity to find that success. It's the most beautiful thing, and he loved it. He was so passionate about it. Madonna went there. Madonna donated money, just to give you guys an idea. So I go my first event with him. I'm like, dude, this is sick, whatever. So we get to the end of the event. They're like, okay, we're here to sponsor kids. And I'm like, all right, dope. It's $1,200 a child. So I just started making money, I mind you, okay? So $1,200 a child. So they start. Okay, who'd like to sponsor the first kid? And all of a sudden, Piazza raises his hand, and I'm like, oh, nice, Piazza. He goes, John would like to do it. And I'm shaking, I'm like, oh, yeah. all right, one kid, $1,200. He goes, John, we'll do 3 kids.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I'm itching, you know? I'm literally
Right.
itching, like Dave Chappelle itching, you know what I'm saying? Like Tyrone from Dave Chappelle, that's me. So I'm like, oh no. So I walk up there, I'm like, Piazza, like $3,600. He goes, look at me. I said, what's up? He goes, do you trust me? I said, I do. He said, do me a favor. Do this and you'll get a lot more in return.
Yeah, 100%.
I put my credit card in, I paid it, I did it. I was all set. I was all good. God, I miss him. I just wish you guys could meet. If he walked into this room right now, we would literally shut this whole thing down just to talk to him. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
The most beautiful, beautiful man I've ever met.
Can we get a little bit deeper on the resentment part of your parents? So, why do you feel like you resented them? Was it that you wanted that money for something else? Was it?
It has nothing to do with money for
Yeah.
me. You know, you maneuver your life to make it your way as human beings, and that's okay. Right? But like, think about this. My father, for instance, was born in the Middle East in a mud hut. The only way he got hot water was outside. They had to heat up the water. Outside. They had to do a huge fire. They'd heat up a big ass bowl, massive, and that's how they take baths. Okay? That's what my dad grew up in. Okay? That's how my dad grew up. Life's about perspective. My dad coming to America, when he landed here, he kissed the ground. He was 19 years old, 18 years old. He kissed the ground. My dad to this day, love you to death, Dad. But my dad is hilarious. Like, he is so passionate about America, regardless of the president. Like, you can't even talk. And my dad, it's crazy. My dad's very right wing, which doesn't make sense because he's very foreign. Okay, I love you, Dad, but it makes no sense. Okay,
It doesn't
Make it make sense, because that does not make sense.
It doesn't. But even with the current person in office, you can't talk shit about him to my dad. He gets so upset.
Wow.
He gets so devastated. Even though he doesn't agree at all with anything, my dad's like, "This is America. Don't you fucking dare say a word about America." That's how he talks.
Yeah.
So I think part of it was my perspective of like, woe is me, and that's a victim bullshit mentality.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think part of that is like getting out of your own zone of thinking that like life is supposed to revolve around you. Unfortunately, it's not. Right.
Too many of generations now feel that way.
And it's just not. No one gives a shit about the fact that you woke up late. Nobody cares, you know? So, and I think that's where the resentment came from. It's like, why do I have to do this? No, God knew I can do this, so let me go do it. What a different mindset, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like you've ever seen these the experiments they do with twins? There was a group, a set of identical twins that ended up being adopted by 2 separate parents. One of the twins ended up going down a dark path. The other twin ended up like graduating from Harvard. It was a crazy experience. So towards the end, they actually tracked. This was like a 30-year thing. Towards the end of it, they asked the twins, both of them, like, what was, why do you think you ended up the way you are? The successful twin said, because of my upbringing. The twin that didn't said the same thing.
Yeah.
So
It's
life's
crazy.
about that, and that's it. So
yeah.
to your question, I think that resentment is because of I thought, I'm naive enough to think, I'm ignorant enough to think that this is what I should be thinking about. No, like I got a way bigger purpose in this life, and like this is part of my life. Like that's why I don't believe in a work-life balance. People are like, you got to take vacations. No, I don't. My life happens to have a lot of work involved in it. Okay, there's no such thing.
So what
as
does Lauren think of that?
We communicate so well with each other. She knows. Like she already knew. I told her, I was like, when I get into the way I'm going to get into, you need to understand that like I'm a psychopath. Okay, I work till 3 a.m. I wake up at about lately I sleep about 2 to 4 hours a night. Sorry, 3 to 4 hours a night. That's all I sleep. That's all I've slept for years. I don't care.
So how long have you always been that way?
Yeah, since I was 12 years old.
Since you was 12.
That's the first time I remember being 12. I don't need an alarm clock to wake up.
So where do you think that came from, or is that just in you?
Ingrained.
To be
I think part of it is also you build defense mechanisms. If I'm going to be very transparent with you, when your body starts getting acclimated to responses, and so what I mean specifically is you might have certain trauma that you've dealt with a very specific way. So therefore, whenever that trauma comes up again, whether it's that specific situation or something else, your body's going to mentally react to that situation the exact same way every single time because you haven't broken the trauma, you know? So for me, I think part of it is, one, I put that deep down inside and I try to just focus on the future. So I think that's part of it. I think number 2 is just my craving for, I don't want to use this word success, but one of the things I've always wanted is like, I do want to be the man per se. I think part of that's my dad. My dad was one of the first ever Arabic singers in the United States, and he sang in almost all 50 states. And I think part of that's seeing him like be the man. Like I used to go to, you know, especially in Dearborn, for all the autos out there, okay, that's our neck of the woods. But when we go there, like everyone knew my dad because my dad sang at every single wedding, he sang at every party, he sang at every graduation. So I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. So I think part of it's that as well. And I think the other part is just the way I've been wired for years and trained to be wired for years. Like I have two hands. I really do. I have two hands. Like I'm gonna be real with you. No one's stopping me.
Yeah.
Like you're just not.
Yeah.
You're just not. And
so how about before 12 though? How was your childhood like before the 12-year-old?
So my mom will tell you this all the time. Like I always wanted to be to school early. So like what I would do with my mom to get me to school early, and she just talked about this the other day. Like I started learning people's tendencies and habits. So like my mom wanted coffee in the morning. So I was like, okay, for me to get to school early, let me make my mom's coffee so she smells it. The coffee.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like our Zoe.
Yeah, so she already knew. So like I'm like, okay, if I can do this for my mom to get her up 30 minutes earlier, that means I can get to school 30 minutes earlier. Like I want to go play basketball because we used to hoop early in the morning.
Yep.
I want to go like connect with my teachers. I want to go like be in front of the class for everything. So mom was like used to pack like I would always pack like my brother and sister's lunch. I'd pack my lunch. I'd make her coffee bright and early in the morning. I'd make sure my brother was woken up, you know, to get ready for the day. I used to do all. I would do all of it. That's just what I did. So I think it's just been innately built inside of me for a long time. Like I tell people all the time, I don't believe that you can motivate people. I believe you can inspire people, but motivation's internal. So like if I were to inspire you, I would inspire you every day. I can inspire you, and then God willing, I can light that fire underneath your ass that you already have, and then motivate you to be the human being that you should be already. Like we all should be better than we are today. You know what I'm saying? We all should be, and we're just not. And why aren't we?
Yeah.
It's the devil, right?
I believe it's that snake, right? You hear the story of Adam and Eve, and I talked about it at CreatorCon. I really believe in it. That snake was what? You know, and whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Take the story for face value if you want. What is that snake to you? That snake is that voice in your head that's telling you not to do things.
Yeah.
What
The
else
subconscious? Is that the sub? When you talk about the subconscious?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it could be the subconscious because the subconscious is everything.
Why does it tell you not to do it? Like, you know what to do every day, right? Like, if I told you what's your perfect day, you would know.
Yeah.
Do you do it every day? No, and I don't either, by the way. Okay, I don't either.
Yeah.
But like, let's not pretend we don't know what to do every single fucking day.
That's very
subconscious
valid.
it could be the subconscious because subconscious is everything that you've taken in throughout the course of your entire life, like the recording of your entire life. So if you've had parents or whatever the case may be injecting things into you when you were younger, even though you may not feel that way now, it's still in your subconscious. So you're still making decisions based on that.
Well,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Your perfect life is totally different than my perfect life.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, I want to say, like, I feel like social media these days is kind of showing us, like, you don't have to like work this 9 to 5 or, you know, wake up early in the morning. It's kind of like romanticizing, like kind of being lazy in a way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And this new
because
generation,
people don't see what goes behind the scenes. They only see what's put out there.
Yeah.
And we live in, and I'm not gonna lie, like we have 4 kids. We live in a generation of entitlement that I'm like sitting like sometimes and I look back and I'm like, wow, like we can put our kids to work every day, but they see everything on social media and they feel this entitlement to be what's not real.
How old's your oldest?
18.
Okay. What's about your youngest?
2.
Okay, so
That's so weird.
No, it's not weird at all. You want to know what's crazy about that? Like, even as kids, like they think that whenever something bad happens, it's like half their life. It's like the most miserable experience, right? I'm sure your 2-year-old will just lose it. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh, if the juice box isn't open right.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? So my whole thing with that, like, God willing, I can teach my children this, and I've had to learn it the hard way, and I'm going to continue to learn it. But it's like, okay, they think that's half their life. You have to realize that God willing, you'll be 80 one day.
Right.
And I think about that shit every day. My biggest fear is losing time. It's the biggest fear of mine because it's in my control. Do you know how annoying it is when I don't execute on something? Because it happens.
Yeah.
You know how frustrated I get? Because it's in my fucking control. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
But it's in my control.
I literally just said this. Time is a gift, but it's also a thief.
But what if you believed, which is in fact true, that time isn't even real?
It's a construct.
It's an illusion.
No, It's a construct.
It's a construct.
Yeah, that too.
It's
Yeah.
a system.
To make
It's something
us,
that it's been put in
I was
place.
like, that's why y'all need to talk.
But it's not even.
But he's right. First of all, it is a construct, and you're right too. But okay, within inside of this construct, I'm still given a certain amount of time on this earth,
Right.
Yeah.
regardless of the construct
That's
that
true,
was
too.
built, right? So to
We
your
all have
point,
an expiration date.
we
Yes.
all have expiration dates. Here's what I do
That are
know.
predetermined,
You know,
for sure.
all I do know is they are predetermined.
I believe
and,
that.
And part of it is your decision making on things that you do, in your early
Yeah.
life. But I think you nailed it. It is a construct. It's not a real thing. But what does that mean? Okay, so let's just say it's not real, which it's not, right? Time is not real. We believe in 1 to midnight or 12 to midnight because that's what we believe in.
Yeah.
But okay, no
that's what
problem.
we're told.
No problem at all. Okay, so then you get to the end of your life. What do you have to show for it?
Right.
So it's like, no problem, time isn't real. I understand that, but it's like, well, the people in your life are real. Aren't they real? Your goals and success is real. Isn't that real?
Yeah.
The people you interact with, are they real? Talking to being in this room, is this real? Okay,
Yeah.
so if this is real, what impact am I making right now? And that has nothing to do with time. I don't give a fuck about time, right? I
Yeah,
give a
that's
fuck about
true.
my experience. Like, I work till about 2 or 3 a.m. every night. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I love 12 to 3 in the morning because there's
It's so quiet and peaceful.
darkness.
Isn't it amazing?
It's
Which is in fact why
darkness.
you should take time as being an illusion, which forces you to live in the moment so that you can capitalize on those moments. Because if you live in a world where you're just focused so much on time instead of just living in that moment, then you will lose a lot of those moments.
I think
that
you're
you should
right.
capitalize
Just so you
on.
know, I want you
Yeah.
to know, I think you're right. I'm not built that way.
Yeah,
personally.
I get that.
Because,
I totally get it. I'm not either.
No,
honestly.
me too. That's what I'm saying. So like,
she posts stuff like, I'm like, are you sleeping?
I'm
Like,
not either, but I'm trying to get to that point where I can live in the moment because
I don't
those are
want
the
to.
moments that we lose.
Why don't you want to?
because why does today matter versus tomorrow? What matters more, today or tomorrow?
But what matters more, like your
But you're not
family
guaranteed tomorrow.
or everything else that you're trying to get done? Because those
Yeah.
family times and all those other times are things that you have to live in the moment on
Yeah.
and take in, and all of that.
I would say I disagree, and the only reason I disagree is, again, this is my life and the way it's constructed. Like,
Right.
time is a construct, so is my life. What I
Yeah.
believe to be beneficial to me is not the same as what you believe beneficial to
Absolutely.
me. So even from my family perspective, like every night I read my kids a book, and I just started posting it. Shout out to Robert Courtney, who's been challenging me to post fucking personal shit. All right? I don't enjoy it. I get it. I try to hide that part of my life.
Yeah.
It's very intentional. But to your point, when I'm 80 years old, what do you think I'm gonna be thinking about? You think when I'm 80 years old, I'm gonna be thinking about living in the moment, or I'm gonna think about the shit I got accomplished?
Both.
I think both.
Why?
So when it comes to business,
Because-
you're living in the
But
future.
what's the difference of? Let me ask you this: living in the moment today, like right now, you think I'm living in the moment?
Yeah.
Do you think I'm living in the moment?
No.
I don't know.
No.
Because it seems like
don't,
maybe
though.
you might not
Because
be.
It depends
But
on what you're doing.
can you tell?
No.
If I
can't
didn't
really
say it,
tell.
could you tell?
Can't tell.
You can't tell, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm here. I'm present. I'm alive. I'm ready to go. But guess what? Every single day, things are changing. The world is changing
Yeah.
faster than I'm changing. I need to be faster than the world. That's my belief.
Yeah.
So I'm here today. I have a great memory. I will never forget this conversation. Just so you guys know,
Right.
I will never
Right.
forget what each and every one of you are wearing. I'm a psychopath like that. I have
Yeah.
a photographic memory. I've been very fortunate to be blessed with that. I'll not forget. I when I tell you I'm looking at where the light is on that little line over there, I can tell you that light is right in front of that line. Okay, in 10 years, I'll never forget it because that's how I'm built. And my
Yeah.
memory is just like that. But the reality is, today is not to me, by the way, okay? This is my opinion.
Yeah.
Today, to me, is not as important as where I'm going to be in 10 years. It's just not. As much as I want to think it is, I am constantly thinking about how I can make myself a better human being. I'm not as good as I am today as I should be tomorrow.
But what you do today determines where you're going to be
That's
in
why
10
I
years.
execute every day. That's different.
Yeah.
Executing every day and thinking about, I think more about the future than I do the present, okay? And that's my,
Yeah,
that
no, I
works
get
for,
it.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not going to sit there and try to, I'm not built to think about today. I'm just not. So I'm done trying to be a human being that I'm not.
Right.
You, and by the way, Nick, you might be built to think about today. That might be you.
Yeah.
By the way.
And it's all personal
You're the best. I love you. You're great. Think about today. What a great human being. I'll give you a hug. I got you.
Yeah.
But I'm not built that way. So it's like, to me, I'm just thinking every single day. I'm thinking about 10 years. It's
so what is your goal, though? What is your ultimate focus? What is it?
Yeah. Jesse, my brother, I love you with all my passion. My ultimate goal is to retire my brother so he can go after his music career. My brother is the most talented producer no one's ever met. Okay, my brother is so gifted. My brother is more talented than me. And I love you, Jocelyn, too, my sister. He's the most talented one out of all three of us in the family. Okay, my goal right now in this life, and listen, take care of my family, take care of my kids. Of course, that's a goal, right? That's always a goal. That's a non-negotiable. But my brother, the reason I wake up every morning is my brother. I will retire him. And I'll make sure he goes after his dream.
Well, how come your brother and your dad never, they're both in the music industry?
Because my brother is such a beautiful human that he is going to sacrifice his beliefs to make sure the family's taken care of. And there's, like, my brother's my rock. And he's younger than me.
And he's younger than you.
Yeah.
So how does it go? Are you the oldest, or
I'm
how
the
does
oldest.
it? You're the oldest, and then
Jesse's
your brother,
the second, and then my sister's
your sister's
the third.
okay.
Yeah, she's having a baby soon.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. They'll do it at the end of the month.
I love it.
Yeah, so thank God. But no, what my goal, that's why I wake up. I wake up for that reason, and then the reason number two is two reasons. Number one is my brother. Number two is I will be 80 years old. I know I will, and I said this at CreatorCon too. You want to know the thing I'll never do? Lie to my kids and lie to my future grandkids about how great my fucking life was. I won't do it. I will not lie to them about it. And there's fucking people in this world that have to lie about how great their life was. Could you imagine being 80 and your great grandkid says, "How was your life, Dad?" And I have to. How was your life, great granddad? And I have to lie to them. What kind of bullshit is that? I have to lie to them and say my life was great. And it wasn't? I ain't doing that.
I have to tell you, and I looked at William and I said, I feel like you're talking to me. My father's an immigrant from Italy. And I feel like he lives in that world of, like, the facade of lying about how great life was, and I see through the bullshit. You can't. My dad used to say you can't bullshit a bullshitter. I'm a bullshitter, so you can't bullshit. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. So it's, like, funny to me, like, to hear you say that, because I literally just looked at William and I'm like, I feel like he's talking to me, because I look at my dad and that's what I would say. Like, my dad was that same mentality, like, and now at 87, my dad's 87, turning 88. He's literally trying to make up for all the lost time, and unfortunately for me, it's too late.
That's fair. You're allowed to do that.
I've said that to him. Like, I'm 42, turning 43. It is beyond too late for you to try to make up for all those years that you weren't there because your mind was different. I respect everything that you're saying because I lived with that, but in the big picture, like, there is a lot of regret at his age at 80.
So just remember, I won't regret my life because,
and I think that's different.
And to your point, so, like, remember, just remember this, okay? And I say this because my father and my mother both are immigrants. They went through life the best way that they knew how to go through it. Okay?
That's fair.
They did. My like, for instance, my mom dropped out of high school. Okay, she got married at 17, had me at 18. There are things my mother just didn't understand about life. So she taught me the best that she could. And if somebody's going to give me everything that they believe they have, that to me is acceptable. Me personally, I'm not saying you.
So that's what you said about letting go. Like, because to me, there's still a lot.
No, and there, you should never let. You deal with your own trauma, and you should, by the way.
But it's inspiring for you to say that, like, because I'm still trying to figure that out.
And you might never figure it out, and that's your business and nobody else's. Nobody could even say. I'm never going to sit here and say you should forgive him. That's not my fucking place. I don't know your life. I don't know what you went through. All I'll say is like, okay, when push comes to shove, and you are 80 years old. Are you going to be upset that you didn't figure it out? And if you're not, that's okay too.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Again, you're still a great human being. You're still a good person. You're still doing all the right things. That's just something you didn't figure out. It is what it is. You're not going to figure out everything in this life. Like, I've learned how to accept that. But, like, there are non-negotiables for me, like reading book to my kid at night. That's a non-negotiable. like kissing my daughter. You know, I love her so much. Like she looks just like her dad. So my girl's babe, I love you, but so she's half Asian, half white. I swear to God, I'm full Middle Eastern. Our kids came out. He looks Asian as can be, and she's as Arabic as can be.
That's how it always.
Like
That's how it always is.
I couldn't believe
Always do.
it. I couldn't believe it. And now with her, I have such like I can't like. I love her so much, and of course I love him so much. But like he's a boy.
They're different. They're different.
I'll throw him around. He's crying. I'm like, let him cry. She cries. I'm like, no, no.
That sounds
right.
Yeah.
But to your point though, that's live your life the way you want to live it.
Yeah.
Be as happy as you can. But just ask yourself one question: when you're 80 years old, you're going to be okay with that decision? And if the answer is yes, keep living your life. If the answer is no, figure that shit out because you don't got a lot of time to figure it out. That's how I was taught. This is not. I had mentors teach me this.
Teach you that.
So same shit for you. And again, that's your business. Nobody else's to judge.
And one of the things that I do before, because I'm sure we're about to wrap up. So before, one of the conversations that I had with William, with you, is we sat and talked at CreatorCon, and you had made a statement to me that you keep certain people around you, or to us, that you keep certain people around you for specific reasons. And you have a very close-knit group of people that are always with you at all times. And I really want to talk about that because as we get older, I'm learning that there are people that you need to hold on tight. How did you get to that group of people? And do they have roles, or what are those people to you?
Yep. So to answer your first question, I've been burned so many times. So one of the ways I was burned, and I don't mind sharing this now. So I'm diagnosed bipolar, type 2. So I'm manic bipolar. So my highs are high, my lows are lows. I shared this with an individual at my previous organization. And one day I was up for a potential promotion. And unfortunately, the person that I told happened to tell someone else. So when I had my potential promotion, that person said, you know, you check all the boxes, but what I heard from you is you're mentally unstable. And when I tell you I was a 26-year-old young man that came from nothing, that has no college degree, that pays, took care of his family, when I tell you it crushed my soul, that's an understatement. I was like, I'll never tell anybody a fucking thing in my life. I won't. I just won't do it. And that's part of the reason, Robert always hits me up and he's like, keep posting. And I don't like doing it because I'm so nervous that someone's gonna use it against me. But the reality is, and not in a condescending way or cocky way, I'm at the top of the food chain for my company now. No one can do that to me anymore because I run that fucking show, from that perspective. So what I learned is you have to be very strategic in who you share information with. And Jordan Peterson, who I followed very, very closely just from a psychology standpoint, one of the things that he talks about is make sure that when you share information, it's with people that you can share bad and good information and they'll be happy or supportive either way. And so that's kind of where it started. It's like, okay, like Rami, for instance, is one of those guys. And my brother, Mo, Gabby, Holly, who I work with now, I was very clear with them. I said, listen to me, I'm going to tell you shit. And I want you to understand, I'm only telling this to you, and if this gets out, I'm going to know it's from one of you. So if you want to lose my trust, by the way, well, here's the difference, though. You can never, here's what you have to understand whenever you're developing a business, okay? You, as the individual, whenever you say things like, don't tell anybody else, just know that's not a real thing, okay? If you are going to share something with somebody else, understand that them sharing it with someone else is completely okay for them to do, and you cannot be mad at them.
Because I shared it with them.
Not just that, what did we talk about earlier on? We love what? We love tea. We love fucking gossip. We love tea.
Everybody loves it.
So I had to learn that lesson the hard way, where I'm like, don't tell anybody. I don't say that anymore. I don't say don't tell anybody. What I say is, listen, Nikki, here's the situation, okay? Because you're getting closer to me, I'm going to share a lot of stuff with you. And here's the reality of it. I'm not comfortable sharing it, but I know in order for us to grow a relationship, I have to. I don't like sharing with everybody else. Now, I've only shared it with 4 people, you being one, XYZ being another, XYZ being another. If this information gets out, I need you to know I'm going to know it's from you or somebody in our circle. And if that happens, I don't hate you because I know you care for me, but just understand that I can no longer trust you.
But you got to go.
Right.
But that's, now think about that difference in that conversation, right?
It's a different approach.
And now they have certain things that they understand they have to protect me from. Like, for instance, right? This is my second glass, okay? I will not have more than two drinks of liquor. That's a rule I have. I won't do it.
Yeah.
Because temptation is what? The devil. Right? Just like the snake, just like Adam and Eve, temptation is the devil. I no longer put myself in phases of temptation, and I have the right circle around me to take me out of that temptation. A perfect story is LeBron James. They were talking about LeBron James when he was 16 years old, and he was going to like this little club thing that was being thrown out. And as he's going to this club thing, one of the rappers, I forgot who it was, but he's talking about, he's like, his arm, he got hurt, his arm was wrapped up. His entire circle, you know what they did? They went around him so people wouldn't see his arm being screwed up because he was going to be the number 1 draft pick. You know how crazy that is? Like, people are thinking about your arm. Like, even though it could have been a sprain, they're like, no, you can't, you got to be careful. You got that. I want that around me. And if that's not you, I'm good. Yeah. I'm all set. I'm good.
Yeah.
So I've been very fortunate. I've been burned way too many times, but I've learned how to navigate and have those conversations.
So what do you think gave you that discipline and structure that you have? Because you're very like disciplined.
Yeah. Realizing, because I wasn't always this way, I would say realizing that nobody's gonna do it for me, and truly accepting the fact that excuses don't matter at all. There is no excuse that matters, in my opinion, at all. You're late. Like, I was late today. My anxiety for being late today was the most. I just straight up told him. I just texted him. I said, I'm gonna be late. Here's why I'm gonna be late. Like, I got here early, not early, but I got here before 8.
Yeah, you were.
But I hit him up and I said, yo, I'm gonna be late because I already can see myself finding parking.
Yeah. Okay.
And you walked in and we're like, hey, like, it was nothing to any single one of us.
To you, it's not. To me,
To you,
the amount of irritation I had driving here, it's something I can't even describe to any of you because I was so mad at myself.
So you're very hard on yourself.
You have to. Who's going to be harder on me than me?
Yeah.
Like, why should I be late to a meeting?
Do you ever forgive yourself for things?
No, because I control it. Why would I forgive myself for things I control?
But do you forgive other people?
Of course
I was just going to ask that.
Then you should forgive yourself.
No, because they're not at a place that I'm at yet. I got to teach them to get to that place. They don't know how good they can be. Not everybody knows I know how good I can be. Not everybody knows. You have to teach them how good they can be. You have to teach people how great they can be. Most people come to you broken. So when they're broken, you, as a leader, in my opinion, I need to teach them how great you're going to be. I need to teach you how great you're going to become. And in order to do that, like, remember,
that's a manifester right there.
Well, it's not just a manifester. Think of when people come to you, how can I assume that you're going to know everything that I know? What kind of bullshit is that? I don't know your life. I don't have a college degree. I was trained by millionaires and billionaires, okay? I have that advantage. I don't know if you did. Maybe you come to me like all you have is like work ethic, okay? You're late to a meeting. Why are you late? What's going on?
I mean, because I could have the college degree and be completely in a different, like, because I do have the college degree in a completely different mindset than what you're in. And
100%.
And that degree means shit to me, to be quite honest
That's what I'm saying.
with you.
But
it means nothing.
My job as a leader, my job, in my honest to God opinion, as a man of the people, in my opinion, it's like, wherever you're at, I'm going to make you better. You don't have a choice. Now, if you don't want to get better, now we disconnect. Now I'm not part of you anymore. Now you can't be part of my team. Now I gotta let you go, because what I don't have time for is people that bullshit me. Okay? I'll make you great. You just gotta execute on being great. You know what I'm saying?
How does that work? Like, and I say this because you talk about Lauren a lot. Like, how does that work within your relationship with Lauren? Like, where is she at? Where are you? And how does, as a woman, how does she deal? Like, I don't want to say deal with, because almost deal with is like a negative connotation, and that's not what I'm saying with. But how does that manifest within your relationship with Lauren?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of conversations, and one of the things that's difficult for me is having those conversations early on, where we've gotten so comfortable with each other about having it. Like, if I was just talking about my team to this today. Okay, if your person loves you, they love you. That means regardless of who you are, they love you. She knows exactly who I am as a man. I know exactly who she is as a woman. Okay, I do.
Yeah.
I love every bit of that woman, but she needs to love every bit of me as a man. I'm not perfect. I have my days. I have my depression. I have my mania when I'm bipolar. Last night I was up till almost 4 a.m. I was almost up till 4 a.m, you know? And she's with the babies by herself, you know? She knows that's just how I'm built. I know how she's built. If she needs me to do something, she tells me. If I need her to do something, I tell her. how am I gonna live I'm not gonna live my life walking on fucking eggshells. I promise you I'm not. I'm not. If I'm bothered, I tell you, but I articulate positively. The problem is people wait until it's the point of no return before they explode on the other human being.
Yeah.
So if you're in a relationship with another human being, you wait 6, 7, 8 months. I don't, and neither does she. She goes through her bullshit, the one she deals with. She tells me right away. Like, she's at home with the kids. And I told her, I said, babe, you want to work? Work. We'll get a nanny, whatever. She has an unbelievable job. She makes incredible money, great benefits. She said, no, baby, I want to be home. All right, baby, whatever you want. I'm good with whatever you want, okay? We had that talk, right? Just know that, like, I got to do X, Y, Z to make this happen. There are days, like even today, I told her, baby, I'm going to be home about 10:30, 11. All right, I'm in Canton right now. I'm going to head home. I'm going to need help with X, Y, Z. Can you grab some formula on the way home? Baby, I got you.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
Baby,
just that open dialogue.
Yeah, and then just one of the things that's hard, but we're working on better is, like, I bought this thing called the Skylight, so it's connected to my my work calendar. So I put it up. We're gonna put it on our. We don't have it built yet. We just ordered it, but it's gonna go on our fridge. It's my calendar for work. I want her to see my entire calendar. I want her to know. That way, if I forget to tell her something, whatever. Anybody, I don't care if you're a woman or a man, all people want to know in a relationship, they just want to be able to communicate with you and tell you exactly, specifically, like, what's going on, and then you just got to be able to accept it. You know, that I and she knows the things that bother me, and I know things that bother her. Like, for me, when I come home, I want to, and I told her this, she's at home all day. Like, one thing important to me, like, one thing I won't do is, like, I don't want to fold laundry. I'll do laundry. I don't want to fucking fold it, you know? But that, I know you're laughing, but that's just so important.
No, I get it.
No,
I get
that's
it.
like our household.
Yeah.
But
like,
you gotta tell them. How is the other person supposed to know?
unless you communicate that.
Like, I cook every day. She doesn't cook. She doesn't like to cook. I love to cook. My expectation every day when I go home is to do what?
I feel like, this is my life.
Yeah.
I feel like this is. William cooks all the time, and everyone's like, "You're Italian. You don't cook." I said, "Why should I? I have a chef in my kitchen.
You have a great fucking cook.
I have a chef in my kitchen. Why would I cook?"
Don't take that shit away from me. It's my only piece when I get to make food.
Every
bro.
day in Florida on vacation, this man cooked and, like, literally.
That's me, bro. On vacation. Yeah.
And that's his love language too. Like, he loves it, and I let him have it. And I was like, as Italian women, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to cook, and I'm like, nah, I'm straight.
Now I'm all set.
I'm good. I got a chef. I'm all set.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have something to prove?
I will tell you that I did for some time because of my father, you know, and the fact that he was so successful. So at first I did, but now I'm going to say that it's my own internal chip. Do I have something to prove? Yeah, but it's to myself. It is not to anybody else.
To anyone else.
I will not. And I say this with such a fucking
You will not
passion.
lose.
I just won't lose. It's not just lose, though, Tyler.
No,
like,
I get it.
It's deeper than... No, it's not just lose. Because I do lose on days. And I'm not dumb to think that I don't lose on certain days. Like, that's such an ignorant thing to say.
But you will bounce back after you lose on that day.
Here's what's going to be hard for you to do, okay? Let's just say you take me down. I'm waking up tomorrow, and you're fucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're fucked.
So ultimately, you won't lose.
I love that.
No,
that should be like a slogan. Like, when I wake up tomorrow, you're fucked.
You are, because like
I love that.
How can you work harder than? How can you do it? How can you do it? Like, I want you to look at me and tell me how you can work harder than me. I'm up at 4. I'm 5 lately because I've been falling asleep late. I go to bed at 2 or 3. I'm up at 5. I work out in my gym, my basement. I go to my day. My company was very fortunate to do we did $827 million in business in 26 states.
That's amazing.
We've been in business for 5 years. I go into fucking fires every single day.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You just are. Because the stress I've dealt with,
Fires
like...
without an extinguisher.
There is no
Good
level
luck.
of stress higher than the mortgage industry, and I can attest to that because I was in the mortgage industry, and it is the most stressful job in the world.
And I fucking... Good luck.
Do you thrive? Do you thrive off of that? Or
It sounds like it.
No, I wouldn't say I thrive off of it. I just know it's part of the journey to success now.
Yeah.
There is I don't enjoy it. I fucking hate it. You know, I hate coming in knowing I got to deal with it. Sucks, right? But the reality is... Damn, Rami, I said the reality is fuck.
Oh, is that something?
That's my filler word lately. It's my filler word.
See, mine is at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end
William
of the day.
is the beauty of it. We all have those. See, the beauty of it is.
Add that to my repertoire.
We've
He
talked
does.
about this.
Williams is the beauty of it. Mine's at the end of the day. So trust me, we like laugh at each other. We all have them. So
all right. So
see,
can you stop? I'm sorry.
see, like that's. Trust me, we get it.
No, but to your point, it's like again, I'll just say it again. It's like, good luck. Like, just I wake up with such a when I get. Even the first 5 a.m. one. I hit up Robert at 1:30 in the morning. By the way, I was up till 3:30 that night. I hit him up and I said no excuses, winners only at 1:30 to him. Okay, I said I sent it on purpose. He said one to keep sending it to him, so I was like, fuck, I'll just send it. But I'm like, I just want this motherfucker to know, I'm a psychopath. Good luck, bro. And I was
challenge accepted.
I was on that thing, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Did he respond to you at 1:30 a.m.?
No, he liked it. I think he liked it
about
3
or 4.
Yeah, 3:30. He's like love, a love emoji, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing up at 3:30, dog?
Hey, I woke up around 3 or 4, but by 5 I was knocked out.
We were getting ready to drive home, and I had every intention of being on that call, and then I don't know if I see. Yeah, okay, all right, it ain't gonna happen again. It's not gonna happen again.
But can I tell you something? You know why I sent that shit to him? So I wake up.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
Accountability.
The only reason I sent it to him, I said, okay, if he doesn't see me on this fucking call, he's gonna be super upset.
He's gonna call you on it, yeah.
So that's why I was at 1:30. I'm sending this motherfucker a text. I need him to know, yo, I'm here, cuz. I'm here.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 5:30 hit or 5 a.m. hits. He's like, oh shit,
Right.
Oh my God, I'm not letting him down. You know? Here's the difference. People will let themselves down before they let somebody else down.
That's valid.
And that's
so true.
But that's why I do it. That's why I'll text Hammer, my admins, or Rami. I'll text them all the time at random ass times. I'm like, tomorrow 6 a.m. It's 3:30 in the morning, and I know they're sleeping. But he knows I do it.
How many 3:30 a.m. texts do you get?
All the time.
Well, it's always the night before 6 a.m. Can you be there? And probably we've had 30 times roughly about that.
Easy, because I know, because in my head I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, I'm so fucking tired, and I'm like, you fucking motherfucker. Yeah. The world doesn't give a shit if you're getting the
how tired
fuck
you
up.
are.
I'm 32. Get the fuck up.
Yeah.
And so that's why I send the text, because I'm like, all right, he knows I'm coming.
That's accountability.
I can't let him down.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not gonna show up to the office and I'm not gonna be there. Not gonna happen.
Listen, you need Rami. You need to create a track of his voice talking to himself.
Yeah.
You can hit the play button.
Yeah.
You fucking
The
loser.
battle.
Get the fuck up.
Yeah. The battle
That's
is
his
with
alarm in
self.
the morning.
Your battle is with self.
That's not just my battle. That's your battle too.
Yeah, it is.
That's all our battles in this
absolutely.
room.
Trust me, I say all these things because I relate.
Everybody. The difference is what everybody relates. What's the difference? I'm willing to share it.
Yeah.
But don't.
There's a lot of people who won't open up and say that.
They
Give
think
me the truth.
Even everybody on your call right at 5 a.m. First of all, God bless everybody got on a call. But let's be real. Not everybody wakes up at fucking 5 a.m. That's the first time they did that shit.
Yeah.
I'm just real about it, right? I'm just being real. Everybody, the struggle you're talking about. Every human being deals with that struggle. To think that we don't is bullshit.
Yeah.
So my thing is all right, cool. I know, if I would have only promised that to myself, I wouldn't have got up. I swear to God, I wouldn't have got up. I looked at my phone and I said, I need to. He told me, because I asked him.
Yes.
I asked him. I said, yo, bro, if I have a weird thought at 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, can I hit you up? He's like, bro, text me whenever you want. I said, okay. So he gave me the pass.
He gave me the okay.
So I said, okay, bro, you gave me the pass, no problem. 1:30, I'm sitting there, 1:36 a.m. I guarantee you that was the exact time because of my memory. 1:30 fucking 6 a.m. I'm sitting there looking. 1:36 or 1:38. Tell me the exact time.
I know he's looking.
Tell me the exact time. 1:36, 1:38 a.m. I'd send him that text, and I'm literally sitting there going to myself. I go, no, if I don't send him this text, I'm not going to get up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I said, if I send this text, I'm for sure going to be up.
So you did that, for
that was
yourself.
calculated.
But I know
There's that
so
calculated.
that you,
There's that calculated.
Yeah.
138.
What did I say? 1:36 or what? You see how psychotic I am?
Calculated.
You see how psychotic?
Yeah.
I knew the fucking time I sent him the text.
Yeah.
That shit's planned
So-
more than you know.
So I have a question. So this is another question.
You guys are getting me going now. This one.
It's the tequila.
I know.
Hey, so, and I'm only asking this because they all know, I went through this process of doing, the hypnosis thing,
Yes.
right?
Awesome.
Okay. So I realized through the hypnosis
Who'd you go
that, I don't even remember.
Okay.
I can't think right now.
I know a few
but-
people that do it. I've gone through it, so I was curious.
So, okay, cool. So, I went through it, and the main thing that came back to me was guilt. The guilt that I faced, that I never realized. And so I realized that's why I've been so hard on myself. So I just wonder, is that something that maybe Maybe
Have you ever done
within
that?
you is some type of guilt that you feel that you have to be so hard on yourself.
So I will say yes until I understood the science behind it. The amount of research and science behind the way your brain operates, we're not as special as we think we are. What happens is you think that you're the only human being that's ever dealt with a specific issue. And by the way, I'm just telling you this from like my experience, because when I talk to my therapist, he's amazing. This guy's unbelievable. Matt Schwartz, huge shout out. Evolving Lives is the name of his company. This guy is just such a beautiful
Don the
soul.
Hypnosis. Sorry, I just thought about his name.
This
That's
is
who I went through.
Thank you.
who.
It was Don the
Don the
Hypnosis.
Okay,
yeah.
so even if the guilt, all that bullshit, right? Like, you have to understand. Do you know why you have guilt? Like, do you know why your brain gives you guilt?
I've realized
No.
the whole.
Do you know the
thing.
science behind it?
okay,
Do you know the
can you
proven
explain it?
science?
'Cause I,
Yep,
like-
Yeah,
no problem.
go ahead.
Okay, the proven science by science. Okay,
Okay.
this is real factual evidence. Okay, the reason you have guilt is because you have unresolved trauma.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Now, the only reason you have unresolved trauma is only for one reason only. Okay, you want to know what it is?
Go ahead.
This is science. This is psychology. It's nothing to do with me. This is. By the way, this is like 100 years of research. This isn't like last week somebody did it. This is 100
I
years of
truly
research.
believe
okay?
in science.
Listen.
I kind of do.
Certain things I don't, but 100 years of research and data, I can't. I can't.
yeah,
I can't.
but
negate.
There's some
deny
science
that.
on
No,
my
that's different. I agree. Okay, but the reason trauma happens, do you know why trauma occurs? Trauma occurs because your brain, whatever the trauma is, has not learned how to potentially navigate out of the opportunity if it happens again. So, perfect example.
Can you say that again?
Yep.
Say that one more time.
Yep. Trauma only. The only reason you have trauma as a human. This is psychology. The only reason you have trauma as a human being. This is facts. Is because you have not learned in your brain a way to navigate through it if it happens again. Okay. So when you deal with certain people deal with specific trauma and certain issues like their family, their loved ones. So the people that become successful are the ones that know that, okay, if this shit fucking happens to me again, like for instance, perfect example with me is like, okay, if somebody fucks me over again, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I've now taught my brain to accept that trauma and know how I'm going to move forward after everything has
Interesting.
occurred. That's psychology, that's science.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It like not like I had to have you say it again so I could process it.
Yeah.
Completely makes sense.
So even to your point of what you stated, right, where it's like, well, I wasn't able to. The only reason is because you didn't learn, and your body has not understood how to deal with that trauma. Here's what's even more fascinating when it comes to the psychology and science. There are other things in your life that you have learned to navigate through trauma that I'm sure if you shared with this group, people would be like, whoa, what the fuck is that? How'd you get over that?
How'd you get over that? Yeah.
You got over it because of why? You built specific parameters about, okay, if this shit ever happens again to me, I know exactly what to do. Now, when people don't build that, you deal with specific receptors in your brain that tell you that you don't know how to overcome it. So your fear, whenever you're thinking it's potentially coming your way, it becomes, so your body, again, science, your body is built on stacks, okay? The first, you know what the first development of the brain is? Again, science. You know what it's fight or flight. Okay, fight or flight is the first defense mechanism.
Survival.
Survival.
Yeah.
So think about animals, right? For a second. Okay, how many animals when they're born they can run? Tons.
Tons of them. Almost
They
a
can
ton.
run right
Run right away.
Absolutely.
Tons.
There's animals that get up and literally
Run.
like come out.
Think
and
about deers, does, right?
Deers,
Deer right away. Giraffes right away.
elephants.
Elephants right away. They
Like-
can run right away. You know why? Because the first part of your brain that's built because of genetics and because of just the history and everything is fight or flight. So what happens to your brain, and this is, by the way, this is not me. I've had very good people in my life that explain this to me.
So
But-
don't come at you.
No, it's not me.
Yeah.
No, it's not just that.
Hey,
I just
it
don't
is-
want people
if
to
it's
think
facts,
I'm
it's
that.
facts.
I
It
don't
is
want people
what it
thinking
is.
it's me like I'm not the smart.
Right.
People have told me how to do this. Fight or flight. So what happens is, anyone here ever had a panic attack?
Yes.
Anyone here had an anxiety attack?
I have severe anxiety.
So do I. Okay. Do you know why that happens? Even though you know it's illogical, even though you know that it's not going to happen. Like I've had a panic attack where I'm like, I'm having a heart attack, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Even though you know you're not, your brain can't stop doing it. You know why? Because your first receptor is fight or flight. So it takes all the energy away from all the other receptors that your brain, because your brain is built on stacks. The first stack of your brain, there's a science, is built on fight or flight. Because that's what we've been taught to do for millions and millions of years. So when all the other stacks get taken away, like your logical, your emotional side of your brain, all of that goes away and it takes all its energy. You know where it goes to? The first thing you were built on, which is fight or flight. That's why you can't get yourself out of a panic attack. Because your brain can't stop.
It's constantly
And
trying
it's-
to.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
So-
you know what's funny? Like, therapy, like I have PTSD from going through cancer and all the kinds of stuff. And it was funny that when we had our RCA day, and what was her name that came in and talked about this, like anxiety?
Oh, the first person.
Yeah, and she came in and she said, like, when you're going through those moments, you need to literally say to yourself, "This is not real.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling this. I'm not going
Doesn't
through
matter.
this." But it did, though, for me. Like, for me personally, I've seen the therapists that have gone through PTSD and have literally said to me, like, "We need to medicate you." I'm not. Like, don't give me medication. Let me learn how to get through them. And now that mine probably may not be as, like, severe as others, but there are times that I've said to Will, like...
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay.
One of the reason why I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Just remember this. Your problems are your problems. It's no one's place to say that your problems are less or worse than somebody else's. Because of what you deal with, like, it's okay for it to be your problem. And if somebody deals with something more extravagant or less extravagant, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Your issue is your issue. Don't say that. Don't say, like, I don't want to say, yes, you did. You did struggle with it. It's okay.
Right.
Who gives a that's your journey. So do not say that.
And I've literally, thank you, and I appreciate that. And I've literally said to him, like, I feel like there's an elephant sitting in my chest and I cannot breathe. And I've started to say to myself, this is not real. This is not happening. Everything that you're thinking
But
is not.
what did you do, though? What did I say just earlier? What did you build?
I build a defense of what's going to happen
There
next.
you go.
But all the
mechanism?
therapists that I've seen have never told me that.
That's what I'm trying to tell
You
you.
get a
though.
new therapist.
Like, literally, like
So-
years of therapy. And it took one person to say that. And I was like,
You
oh.
don't need a therapist. You just need to go within yourself.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to
Figure it
tell
out.
to your point, right? He what I just explained to you is you just literally explained exactly what I was trying to tell you, right? You now understand that this is not real.
Right.
And you feel better about it not being real. You now have a defense mechanism built to deal with this trauma.
When it happens again.
Because you know if it happens again, you're like, hold on, it's not real. I'm good.
Fair enough.
So we check
Okay.
my pulse, right? I do the same thing. I check my pulse. I look at my Apple Watch, make sure my heart rate's okay, make sure I'm not having a heart attack. And I'm like, all right, bro, chill the fuck out. You're not having a heart attack. Everything's fine. Because I've now built what? Defense mechanisms to deal with what? The trauma.
Right.
You literally just proved exactly the conversation.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Okay,
that's for my. And again, this isn't me. This is just my therapist teaching me.
But the problem is it is real. It's a trauma that you need to go through to get to
Absolutely.
where you're trying to get to. So you have to go back and uncover that trauma that's there.
I don't wanna-
that you don't.
I don't
All right,
That's
guys,
the problem,
we gotta wrap
though.
this
I know.
up.
Yeah.
I was just about to say.
After
We're wrap this up.
after show.
We're gonna do the after show.
But we want to let Tony in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do the after show because there is like 2 questions that Tyra and I ask
Oh yeah.
all the time to all of our guests. And I think we're going to hold that for the after show and we're going to let production go ahead and shut down. We'll
Yeah.
save that for the after show. So tune in if anyone's going live to our 2 questions for the after show. Here we go.
Crush it.
Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the RPR podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes. Jessica
Thank
Wood.
you, John, for coming on the podcast and being vulnerable with us, sharing your story. We
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for
Very
having me.
much.
guys.
Thank you.
So much appreciate it.
It's so beautiful. Like, first of all, thank you for even asking me so many like questions the way you all did. It means more to me than you could possibly imagine. Usually I'm the one asking questions and learning about people. So I cannot express to you the amount of gratitude I have for all 3 of you just wanting to actually learn about me. It means
Yeah.
more to me. I get emotional thinking about it. It means more to me, more like than you can even possibly imagine. So God bless you all, and I
Love
cannot
it.
thank you enough for asking me
Thank
all
you
this
for
stuff.
being
Thank
here.
you for
Of course.
And
so
Jessica
much.
Woodbeck will be here next week. So
Yes,
can't wait to
so-
talk to her. It's going to be a great interview.
Yeah, stay tuned for
Thank you.
our podcast next week for Justin Webback.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye.